Hey guys, this is Dylan from Poor Boys. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing a DCR pump conversion on this here 6.7. Customer brought us in his F450 right here. Came in with a lifter failure. Had multiple misfires in different cylinders. So we're throwing in a fresh OEM from Ford crate engine. And before we install this, we are going to be installing the DCR on this. First thing first, we're going to be ripping off the upper and lower intakes, getting down to that injection pump. And here's all the tools you will need. 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter, 19, 17 wrench, 13 millimeter ratchet, 27 millimeter socket for the injection pump drive gear nut. Yeah, let's start ripping into it, huh? Let's see, first thing first. Let's get this upper intake off, huh? All right, now that we got all these 8 millimeter bolts loose, let's pop this upper intake off. Set it aside. Next, we'll be taking off this lower intake. For that, it's going to be 3 10 millimeter bolts and the 8 millimeter clamp holding it to the turbo. And that right there is your injection pump. These are known for lifter failures internally, going out and spreading metal shavings throughout your whole fuel system. To prevent that, they have the DCR upgrade, and that eliminates that issue. So let's get this stock pump out and get that DCR installed. First thing first, we're going to be taking off the feed and return line. 13 millimeter bolt, hold down to the fuel filter housing. 2 8 millimeter bolts over here on the valve cover. You will not be reusing this line. It comes with a new line inside the box. Different years have different return lines. Sometimes you may need the quick disconnect tool to disconnect that from the rail, but on the early models, you do not need that. So once you get those lines out of the way, you're going to be removing the feed lines from the injection pump to your driver rail. That's going to be a 19 millimeter at the pump. Pop those loose. Just like that. Come over here to your rail. Pop the first 3 loose. Okay. Let's get this return line out of the way. Set that out of the way. Grab your 8 millimeter. Me personally, I don't like to take these brackets off. I just take the hold down brackets off. And there's going to be 3 hold down brackets you got to take off. Let's take those, set them aside. Don't lose these white plastic containers. Same thing with down here. Just take that hold down bracket off the lines. There's going to be 2 8 millimeter bolts holding down the crossover line. You're just going to want to take those out. just to give you a little more clearance to get the injection pump in and out. Now you take these lines completely out. You will not be reusing these. Next, we'll be taking off this bracket that's on the injection pump down in the valley. Once you get that out, we will start removing the injection pump from the engine. First thing first, you're going to want to take this drive nut gear off. Don't lose that. Grab your 13 millimeter. There's 3 hold down bolts that hold this pump in. This is what those look like. Now the injection pump should be free. And grab your little hammer, come to the front, and tap it out. See, that gear came loose. Also, you want to make sure you time this before you remove the pump. There's going to be 2 lines on the gear from the pump and 1 line on the cam. You want to line up. If you don't do that, your truck will not start. Grab that gear, pull it out, set it aside. Grab your hammer, pop it out. Sorry for all the noise. That's our race truck over there. Tim's bringing it currently. What do you have to say about this?
This thing's dirty as heck.
It's pretty dirty, huh? So, sorry for all that ruckus that they made back there. We are going to show y'all an unboxing of the DCR, but this is your stock CP4 pump. This is what it should look like. You can take that and throw it in the dumpster if you want. All right, let's get to unboxing this DCR. Let's see. Throw that out. You're gonna have your fuel lines. More fuel lines. I'll walk y'all through that here later. This is the DCR right here. Brackets. It also comes with an instruction sheet. Tells you everything, torque specs. It walks you how to remove and install the pump. Brackets, bracket, Loctite, fitting and fitting, and the sticker. Let's get these fuel lines unpackaged. So there's no sensors that come with this. You're gonna have to take them out of your old lines and swap over. Hold down bracket for the fuel lines, hardware, plastic retainer for these fuel lines, fittings, adapter goes to those fuel lines. First thing first, you're gonna wanna get your pump. You're gonna set it where this faces down on this little dot right there. Spin it to where it's 6 o'clock. And that it tells you your pump is timed. All right, now that we have our retainer clip on, depending on the year of vehicle you're putting this on, you may have to use these fittings or plug that go right here. But in this year, you have both sensors that will go directly into those ports. That one goes there. Fuel temp sensor goes right in front. Grab your crescent wrench. Get a little snug. And that line is ready. All right, now let's go back to the engine over here and let's get this block prepped and ready for this DCR conversion. We want to get a short 15 millimeter socket. I have a Wobble Plus snap-on extension. which allows it to wobble on there. You come right here in the front. There's these two bolts. This right one and left one. You're going to take your socket and extract both of those bolts. Okay. And try not to drop this down in there. Keep one hand on both sides. That's one bolt. Take that and discard of it. You will not need it anymore. Second one. Okay. Now you want to come back over here, grab your mounting hardware and your bracket. This is going to convert from your engine to the DCR hold downs. Grab your Loctite. So normally you would grab a Scotch-Brite and you would want to Scotch-Brite the back of this surface to make sure you have a clean mating surface of that plate. But this engine is brand new. Don't have to worry about no rust or debris causing any issues. Take your Loctite, grab your two Torx bolts, tab, grab your plate, come back over here, slide the bottom onto their stud down there, grab your bolts, so once you get those bolts started, you're going to run them in with a T45. Okay, grab your torque wrench, set it up. Those bolts are going to be torqued down to 26 foot-pounds. So once you have those bolts torqued up, you want to grab your studs that was provided in the hardware kit. You put a little dab of Loctite on the small end of the studs. Take those, run them in to the adapter plate. Nice and snug. And now your engine is ready for the DCR. So now that that is ready for your DCR, lube up your O-ring with some grease, Vaseline, oil, whatever you prefer. Grab your pump, pop it in. We are going to be grabbing our 3 hold down bolts. Those do get reused. Grab your 13 millimeter. Grab your torque wrench. Set it up. Those get torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. Okay. So next, if you want to come up front, we're going to be looking at the front of the pump. We're going to install our gear. If you look down here, that timing mark that I had you put at 6 o'clock, now it should be facing 7 o'clock. You grab your pump gear. Line up those marks. Grab your nut. Okay. So once you got that nut snugged up, you're going to grab your torque wrench, set it up to 60 foot-pounds. And it's ready for the vacuum pump to be reinstalled in the rest of your drive assembly. So once you got that fully torqued up, you want to go grab your fuel lines. Take these caps off. Install one at a time. And these fuel lines get torqued up to 26 foot-pounds as well. You want to start off by hand tightening them first. Get everything in line. Now before you torque those up, I like to get these hold downs, put them in place. That way your lines aren't moving around and everything lines up perfectly. Now, I don't tighten them all the way just yet. I just get them snug to where they don't move. And I'll show you why later. Okay. You grab your 17mm wrench, come to the pump, snug them up. Come to the rail, snug them up. Don't forget that crossover line. You can put your hold down bolts back into that crossover line. And just get them started. You're going to want a little bit of play down here so you can get your hold down bracket down in there. Set your torque wrench up to 26 foot-pounds. All right. So I've done quite a few of these pumps already, so I can kind of like feel for how tight these lines should be. It's kind of hard to get a torque wrench down in there, so we'll come over here, grab our paint marker. Paint marker. Come over here. Next, you're gonna grab your hold down bracket. You're gonna grab two 8mm bolts and take it, slide it under, just like so. All right. Once that's tight, you're gonna grab your other plastic container, slide it under the lines. Now you're gonna go ahead and tighten up all your hold downs. Okay. So once that is complete, you can grab your fuel lines for your feed. Take off your plastic caps. Pull these caps out of your pump. Grease up your O-rings. Very gently, nice and smooth. Push down and pop them into place. Take your return, pop it onto your rail. Take your feed down. Now that bolt that was holding down the previous lines used to have rubber bushing that went in there. This setup will not fit with it, so just take it off and use the bolt. And this bolt gets torqued down to 89 inch-pounds. 8mm bolt holds down the side right here. So that is the pump install of a DCR. Next, we will be putting our lower and upper intakes back in. I forgot to put this return line back on, sorry. Okay. Now you're gonna grab your lower intake, slide it back on, grab your 10mm bolts, long one over here, two short ones over the side. Okay, grab your upper intake, put it right up there, and that should be it. So once you get your intake put back on, the job should basically be done. But in our scenario, we are going to be throwing this engine back into the chassis and getting the cab drop down. We will be showing y'all some time-lapse videos of me doing the whole job. So hang tight and watch the videos. Hope y'all like them.